Italian Wine Podcast. Chin Chin with Italian wine people.
Hello, this is the Italian Wine Podcast with me, Monty Waldin. My guest today is Bernardo Guicciardini Calamai. Bernardo is the president of the Consorzio of Morellino di Scanzano, DOCG, in Tuscany. Bernardo, welcome.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry for my long name and family name that is also a bit difficult to pronounce.
The Guicciardini, a very historic family. Just give us some background about your family history that goes back hundreds of years.
Yeah, Monty. Yes, my family started producing wine in Castello di Poppiano. That is a winery that is located close to Florence, in the hills surrounding Florence. And the year we go back and we find the documentation that we were there is 1199, so more than 900 years. And for sure at the time, not only producing wine was a typical medieval farming activity, so different products beside the wine. Then century after century, we have been moving and specializing more and more in wine production. And we started from what became the Chianti area, Chianti and Chianti Colli Fiorentini. And then we have been starting our wine activity in beautiful Maremma in the Scansano area. And we bought at the end of the 80s a piece of land on the beautiful hills of Scansano, where we have been building from scratch our estate that is Massi di Mandorla. The name of it is Massi, that means boulders, because it took us 3 years of digging and exploding big boulders before we were able to plant the first vineyards. And as anyhow being an exciting experience, and we felt in love more and more with Scansano and with Morellino Scansano, and this is why we have been investing in the last year a lot in this estate where we are producing Morellino Scansano. And I've been proud to be nominated the president of Morellino di Scansano, where I have today many friends, true friends, and we are doing all our best together with the producer to let Morellino di Scansano grow in the right direction. And I hope we are doing a good job step by step. And thank you so much for this opportunity.
Okay, so when we talk about Morellino, what is Morellino?
Morellino is the name of the wine for sure, and this name was a name that was given to the Sangiovese local grapes. And the reason why we're called Morellino is because the color of this grape, of the fruits, were reminding the color of the coat of the local horses that were called Morelli, and they have very dark, intense coat that reminded the color of the wine. And these horses were the horses that was used to draw the carriage of the wealthy people living in the flat land in front of the sea. And during normally the summertime, they were moving up the hill to Scansano because the climate there was much better, because the flat land was more kind of a swamp. So in summertime, a lot of mosquitoes, and at the medieval time, a lot of disease. So they were moving from the province up the hill to Scansano, that is about 500 meters elevation, and the climate there has always been fantastic. And have been finded heavy historical evidence that the wine is produced in the area since the Etruscan time. So we're talking about even earlier than before Christ. And then with the Roman Empire, still we have evidence of production of wine in the area.
Mm-hmm. And also, if you go into the town of Scanzano, if I'm correct, it has some of the houses there are beautiful. They date from the 14th and 15th centuries. So it's really well worth a visit, the town itself, the center of the town itself. Okay, tell us a little bit about the territory of Scanzano and the production. How many wine growers make Morellino, the Sangiovese Morellino di Scanzano? How many producers are there, and where are they growing their vines? Is it on hills or on the flat or by the sea, or how does it work?
The beauty of the area, first of all, as I was saying before, we are located in the southwest coastal area of Tuscany. The area is well known, Maremma Toscana. We consider this the Italian California, let's say. And going back to the United States, talking about horses, I forgot to tell that they're very famous also, the breeders and the farmers using these horses and breeding the horses, called the butteri, that are considered the Italian cowboys. So we could say that Scanzano is kind of and it is a kind of the far west of Italian far west, I would say. So just going back to the horses. Anyhow, going back to the area, the Morellino di Scanzano denomination extends from the coastal area till the Mount Amiata inland, and on the edges, the borders is delimited from two well-known, they're not huge rivers, but were called Ombrone and Albenga. So we go from the flatland in between the hills and the seaside. Going up the hills, Scanzano is on top of maybe the highest hill that, as I was saying, is about 500 meters, and then you keep on going until the Mount Amiata, that is much more in the inland. We have about 1,500 hectares of vineyards, and the producers are 200 producers approximately, and we are producing on an average, I would say, around 10 million bottles a year.
Okay. And what is the blend for Morellino di Scanzano? How much Sangiovese or Morellino has to be in the wine?
Yes, the Tuscan agriculture is Sangiovese, and the disciplinary of Morellino Scanzano consider having 85% Sangiovese, and the 15% complementary have to be Tuscan recognized complementary grapes.
But you can also make 100% Sangiovese if you want to, yeah?
For sure, yes. At least 85. And then you can do 100%. And then we have two different kinds. I would say the vintage Morellino, and then we get the Riserva that has to be aged at least 2 years, and one of these in wood has to be aged in wood.
What are the main market for the wines?
The main market, I would say for sure the local market, more the central part. So we're talking about Italian market, the central and north part of Italy. We are not well distributed in the south of Italy, and I would say that this represents approximately 70% of our sales, and the 30% then is export. And when we talk about export, mostly we have to consider Northern Europe and United States, where we are there, but we have to do a lot to grow and to get a much bigger part of the market, making people knowing much more about Morellino di Scanzano.
Is it difficult, I mean, in terms of promotional activity, to get foreign buyers, whether they're Canadian or American or Asian, to listen to the Morellino di Scanzano story when they may be more interested by the sort of Brunello, the kind of the really, really, really famous, the really expensive wines? Do you feel a little bit left out sometimes in Scanzano?
It's a matter also takes time, but especially, I give you an example for the local market. During this crazy year with the big difficulty that we have had on the market, for sure, especially the Horeca market, as you can imagine, has been very, very difficult with a decrease of 30, in certain cases of 40%. Morellino di Scanzano has been able to keep a good volume of sales, also thank you to the sales in big retail stores, where we are very, very strong, and we are well known to have an excellent value for money. And as we were talking about before, the quality of Morellino di Scanzano in the last year has been growing very, very much. So you have great wines, very competitive prices, and this is something that is getting more and more interesting also on the export market, where more consumers are aware about, for sure, of Tuscany and about the area Maremma Toscana, that is becoming a very interesting touristic area, because it's one of the most uncontaminated areas, not only well known for very good quality wines, but also for the quality of life, for other excellent products you can find over there. So great food, great restaurants, great places for horse riding experiences, biking experiences, and of course, without forgetting the coastal area that is beautiful. We have great islands in front of us, Isola d'Elba, Isola del Giglio. So is, people, I think, is falling in love more and more with this area, and this is helping promoting our wines and proving that they are capable to produce extremely good wines.
It's quite nice having that mix of seaside and red wine, I think. What about any typical dishes for the Morellino in your area?
Typical, is for sure, I would say, more kind of meat food, as you know. So I would say the tasty kind of pasta with meat sauce or wild boar sauce, skews of still wild boars or I would say grilled meat. I mean, the local food, as you know, you know very well the area. It's kind of a tasty food that is a perfect matching with the Morellino di Scansano wine. That the characteristic of Morellino di Scansano is this is a unique style that is given from a unique climate. I would like to go back to what you were saying before, mentioning that this is an incredible combination of terroir and climate, because being close to the seaside, we get this effect of the sea breeze that is regulating the temperature, that is going very dry and hot during the day and is dropping down during the night, and this help a lot a perfect maturing of the grapes that allow us to produce a unique kind of Sangiovese. And the main characteristic is being powerful, as most of Toscan Sangiovese wines, but at the same time very, very elegant, with very rounded tannins, smooth tannins. And this is the main characteristic of Sangiovese. And us, I can tell you our experience as producer, producing in Chianti Classico and in Scansano area, the Sangiovese, same clone of Sangiovese that we are growing over there, they allow us to produce a wine that is ready much earlier than in the other denominations. So a wine, this characteristic of being fresh, pleasant, dry at the same time, with very smooth tannins, and having, as I was saying, also a good body and overall balance of the wine. So this combination of terroir and climate allow us to do this. Mentioning the terroir, also we have to mention that for sure is different. It's a wide area. On the flatland, for sure, you have much more acid, alkaline kind of soil, rich of marine sediments. Where they were the marshlands that we were talking about before. And as much go up the hill, for sure, the soil is changing, is getting more stony, sandy, which in some area you have a bit more of clay. So this is changing, but the main protagonist, I would say, is the climate, being so close to the coastal area.
Okay, I mean, how high? What is that? Where are the highest vineyards? Roughly, what's the altitude?
The highest, I would say, the highest is around 350 meters.
Okay, and what would the area be? Is it in one of the villages there, or what's the name of the area?
Allora, the villages, you know that, as we were mentioning, Scansano, and this is the higher one. Then we have for sure Grosseto. Grosseto is in the flatland. Then we have Campagnatico. Magliano is another one a bit higher. Manciano, Roccalbenga, and Saroniano. These are the different towns around of which you can find the vineyards. But the highest one, I would say, are the one around Magliano and Scansano.
I mean, are their wines very, very different compared to a coastal wine? What would be the differences in taste in terms of the texture, the tannin, and the fruit expression?
For sure, as you can imagine, as much as you go up the hills, as much you have this characteristic of being fresh, having this kind of, I would say, also given from the soil, it's a more mineral characteristic of the wines. For sure, on the flatland, the grapes are ready earlier. Sometimes they tend to mature more than on the hills. So I would say the characteristic of the hilly areas is the one of producing the typical Morellino that is ready in an early time in the year after. And as much as the wines are maturing, either the wines from the flatland or from the hills, they are going on the same direction. So developing, I would say, more in the same direction.
And what about winemaking in terms of Are all the wine? Does the wine have to see oak, or can it be bottled with no oak aging?
No, for sure. The regular Morellino is not, you can do whatever you want. It could be steel vats, could be cement, could be oak. There is no regulation. And I would say that vintage Morellino is mostly done without any wood. Then we have Riserva that at least 1 year has to go through the wood. And then is, I would say, an unknown or hidden category that is quite you can find a few wines and very good wines. Those are the one in between the vintage Morellino and the Riserva. I would say, kind of a transition wine.
Okay. Bernardo, what about climate change? What are the wine growers of Scanzano? You did mention that there are, in broadly speaking, two different terroirs, one inland and higher and one lower down and nearer the coast. What are the difficulties with climate change, and how are your wine growers coping with it?
Monty, in our area, we are used to the problem of the drought because this area, it doesn't rain that much along the year. And what happened in the last years, normally when it's raining raining really hard in a short time, a lot of rain. So this had to forced us to make some changes and to adjust the way we are growing and treating the wine trees and also the soil. And for sure, that in the area we are allowed to water the plants, the wine trees. So we have irrigation systems in many of the states, especially in the states located in the areas where it's raining less. This allows us to control the watering of the wine trees and to have a consistent production year after year. For sure, that global warming is effectively creating changes, but it can happen as it happened in 2014, that has been a very rainy year, or you can have years as 2017 that was extremely hot and dry. So there isn't a precise rule, on what to do in certain situation. But today we have instruments to handle this and to adjust the way we are working the soil and working on the wine trees and with the watering and being able to have anyhow a consistent production. This year, for example, last vintage 2019 has been quite, we have a drought of water. Then luckily at the end of August and beginning of September, we have had some good consistent rain, but not, kind of summer storms that normally where you get a lot of water in a short time. That is not helping at all because the soil, as I was mentioning, is mostly sandy, stony, and so the water just runs away very, very, very fastly. And this is true. Things are changing, but technology is also changing. New clones of Sangiovese are used to be more resistant to the change of the climate. And so, as much these changes are happening, we are also adjusting the way we are working to make sure that we can have good harvest and good quality wines.
Okay, I just want to say thanks to my guest today, Bernardo Guicciardini Calamai. Thanks very much for telling us about your family history, which is fascinating, and also for the joys of the Scanzano region. And it seems like there's a lot going on with the coast and the horses and the very diverse terroir that you have. Definitely a region that is underestimated in my view and ignored in my view. It's a very beautiful place and there are some very fine wines. And I look forward to coming and seeing you in person and sharing a glass of wine with you, Bernardo. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Monty. Thank you for helping us to promote Morellino and the fantastic area where Morellino wine is produced. Thank you very much, and I look forward to see you as soon as possible.
Thank you so much.
Ciao.
Listen to the Italian Wine Podcast wherever you get your podcasts. We're on SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, Himalaya FM, and more. Don't forget to subscribe and rate the show. If you enjoy listening, please consider donating through ItalianWinePodcast.com. Any amount helps cover equipment, production, and publication costs. Until next time, cin cin.